Oh my god.
Not okay. No. Where'd you go? We have the grossest bugs in the city. They're called like basement bugs. That's the best name I've heard. Not best name, but the only name I've really been given for them. They're basically like centipedes with giant arcing like McDonald's arc legs, and there's like 100 of them, and they crawl on the walls, but they don't have good traction, so they'll like fall. And I've had them like fall on my bed. They go into the bathroom and they'll like fall on you in the shower. It's terrifying. So that just happened. And it had to die because I can't deal with them. They can't bite or anything, so like that's great, but no. Sorry. Anyway, hello to the internet. My name's Montgomery, and we're here to talk about who even am I? Or, how I've been saying, who even are we? Because it's more an exploration of the human experience, which I engage with as a human. Or am I? That was weird. Today I'm going to be talking about a concept that I came across when I was listening to a podcast called Dear Sugar Radio, which is wonderful, and I think you should check it out because it's really cool, and they talk about lots of relationship things, dealing with families and romantic relationships, and they cover a lot of really interesting situations, and they're just so empathetic and loving in the way that they talk about the situations. I'm a big fan. So one of the things that they were talking about, and it was someone writing in about a romantic relationship, one of the sugars used this term called the familiar hell. And in regards to this person's struggle was really dealing with like moving back, I think it was like maybe going back to an ex, or their new relationship was reminding them of an ex, that type of thing. And so one of the sugars was talking about this concept of a familiar hell. This person was drawn to something because it was so familiar to them. Even though it caused them pain, they were really seeking out that experience. And it really struck a chord with me because that's something that I've been thinking about a lot in the past couple of years as I've been trying to move through things and grow in my own experience. Why are we drawn? I've been really curious about that draw, that attraction to try and heal an old wound with a new situation. I think it's a little like old school psychology. It feels a little hokey dokey to me. But I do think that there's some validity in that when we have these wounds that we are trying to heal, we're trying to prove to ourselves, like, I'm worth love, I'm worth esteem, I'm worth the things that I desire. And I think it makes sense that we'd be seeking out situations where we want to prove ourselves. We want to, like a gladiator going into battle, we want to move into that situation and make it different this time. And I can't really say if that's like a good or a bad thing. I just can say from personal experience, more often than not, it's going to end up happening the same way. Mostly, I would say probably because we're putting ourselves in a situation where the stimulus is forcing us to react in pretty much the exact same way that we're used to. We're basically going to be perpetuating the outcome that we expect because our behaviors are being influenced and not really decided, but very much shaped by the environment that we're putting ourselves into. So when we're seeking out that situation where we really want to go in and be strong and be better, once that stimulus comes at us and once we're experiencing those influences, it's extremely difficult to react in a way that you don't already know, because all of those behaviors and expectations that are in your mind from your previous experiences are just like coded in there to really save you from pain. It's a fear thing. You're afraid of getting hurt in the same way, and so your body and your mind and all of the things are really just fighting to stop that thing from happening, and it more often than not it's going to make you behave in the exact same way. And I think that there's something really powerful about the way that we communicate expectations to the people in our life, that that can also shape the way that they treat us. And oftentimes, when we get into those situations, it's two people dealing with the same sort of issue from opposite sides, kind of just reenacting the same old tragic play over and over again. And there are so many different examples of like what that interaction can be. But more often than not, it's not healthy or happy or beneficial for both parties. It's just two people enacting their pain at each other. I feel the better way to deal with it for me has been to accept that these things happened in my past, accept the pain that came with them, console myself for it, and just do my best to move forward and to try and seek out other relationships that I don't recognize those patterns in, that I'm not seeing the familiar hell. The relationships that I have been able to find where that's not such an issue have just been so much more beneficial and new and fresh, and they've brought so much more joy into my life, and just without all of the struggle that comes with really trying to fight through these old wounds. And honestly, as I've walked further and further away from engaging in that situation, the wounds have started to heal as I've really learned to love myself better. So that would be sort of my suggestion to you. If you are experiencing something that feels very patterned, very cyclical in the relationships that you have in your life, sit down with yourself and try and evaluate, like, what am I seeking here? What kind of love, what kind of validation am I looking for? Why am I looking for it? Where does it come from? And try and really be able to recognize that, so that when you see it in other people and when you notice that, you can say, I understand why this is attractive. I see what's going on here, why I'm enticed, and I should say no thank you, and I should move along and focus my energies on relationships that can offer me more beneficial things. Yeah, so those are my thoughts on this familiar hell sort of thing. And if you liked it, like the video, let me know that you liked it. Subscribe if you like what I'm doing. Let me know if you want to talk about something that's going on in your life. If you want me to do some research, give you my thoughts, let me know what your familiar hell is below. I don't know. I want to talk to you guys. So yeah, see you next week. As always, take care of yourself. That's one of our jumble.